ask you a question?
What do you have? Go ahead. No, that's enough. Go ahead.
Can I ask? But that wasn't my question.
The problem is you don't write the truth. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I want to go. I want to go to the next.
Can I ask you a question about?
No, not CNN, please. Go ahead.
The White House has not responded to these
I
allegations.
told you. CNN is fake news. Don't talk to me. Go ahead, please.
But he says he was retaliated against, and that's why he was removed from his job. Do you have a response to that?
Okay, next question.
Mr. President, I have
To hire a spokesperson just so that Elon Musk doesn't put out tweets that then confuse federal workers.
Are my press briefings not good enough for you, Jackie?
You're going to see some young faces in the next Trump administration. The president-elect announced his press secretary is going to be Karoline Leavitt. She is just 27 years old. She was a press secretary for his campaign. She was a fierce fighter and defender of his, both on the airwaves, going on all the different shows, and behind the scenes working with the press. So no surprise that he picked her. She was also a super young candidate not so long ago. In the 2022 midterms, she ran for Congress in her home state of New Hampshire. She did not succeed and then went on to work for the Trump campaign. And she's part of that new generation that was actually a big reason why Trump won the election. He won the youth vote by a way bigger margin than most Republicans have in recent years. And now he's bringing those new faces into his next administration.
Now, before I take questions, I would like to address an extremely dishonest narrative that we've seen emerging over the past few days. Many outlets in this room have been fear-mongering the American people into believing there is a constitutional crisis taking place here at the White House. I've been hearing those words a lot lately. But in fact, the real constitutional crisis is taking place within our judicial branch, where district court judges in liberal districts across the country are abusing their power to unilaterally block President Trump's basic executive authority. Sure.
So U.S. consumer confidence fell this month the most since August of 2021. What is your message for Americans who are concerned about the impact of things such as tariffs on prices?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for that question. It's obviously an important one. The president campaigned on reigniting the Trump economy and fixing the mess that was created by the previous administration in this country, and they must be held accountable.
And something different. There is now a member of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back. So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So the United States asked that. Mary.
Hey, thanks, Caroline. I wanted to ask about this video that I saw this morning set to the tune of, I believe, Closing Time, about deportations of illegal migrants. What's the strategy behind the White House's videos they've been putting out on this, and can you kind of talk us through the thinking on these videos?
Sure. We are unafraid to message effectively what the president is doing on a daily basis to make our communities safer. And the specific video you referenced, I think it sums up our immigration policy pretty well. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Go ahead. Without his consent or knowledge. And that's not just the president or me raising those questions, Caitlin. According to the New York Post, there are Biden officials from the previous White House who raised those questions and wondered if the president was even consulted about his legally binding signature being signed onto documents. And so I think it's a question that everybody in this room should be looking into, because certainly that would propose perhaps criminal or illegal behavior if staff members were signing the president of the United States autograph without his consent.
Biden is on the record talking about issuing preemptive pardons to these people.
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden
Is there
White
any
House.
Evidence on that he wasn't aware of?
You're a reporter. You should find to the woman in the purple, because I saw you were making a face at my previous answer. So what's going on?
Well, actually, I have a couple of questions. At the core of pro-Palestinian protests on college campuses and elsewhere is a demand to end the war in Gaza, a goal that this administration actually supports and has pursued. So why has this not been acknowledged or highlighted even?
Because these colleges in these protests have again put out Hamas propaganda. The only reason Democrats have changed their minds on Tesla is because Elon Musk changed his mind on Donald Trump. That's the bottom line. I know AOC, for instance, used to drive a Tesla. I'm not sure if she still does. If she still does, it's because she knows it's a great American-made product. And that's why President Trump was proud to review some of those models at the White House yesterday. He ultimately went with the red sports model. It's actually sitting at West Exec right here at the White House now. But as you said, the president purchased the Cybertruck for his granddaughter, which is a very nice gesture. He campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
That's
they
it.
don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country, and it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, DOGE and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. DOGE and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that...
Are any officials here preparing to fight Democratic lawmakers in the streets?
Absolutely not.
So,
thanks for the question.
Some elected Democrats are so steamed about DOGE. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver says we are at war. Ilhan Omar says we might actually see somebody get killed. And Chris Van Hollen says we have to fight this in the Congress. We have to fight this in the streets. So what now?
And may I just point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here, and for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
It sounds like something that they're most concerned about is DOGE engineers with access to Treasury systems. Can you clarify? Do the DOGE engineers have read-only access in these systems, so they are not allowed to write new code? They are.
Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws, and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You may have one of the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the break.
If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are a criminal, yes.
Snoop Dogg.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this video finds you. Welcome to Ticks.
Oh my goodness. The fireworks just do not stop with this guy, like at all. At all. This isn't a long one, it's a short one, 32 minutes looks like. She did 2 other press briefings that I meant to catch up on, but I've been busy. Like right now, I got my feet in the foot bath because I cut all the grass today. So, yeah, let's get into it. And let's go.
President Trump is saddened and outraged over the brutal murder of 2 Israeli embassy staff here in Washington, D.C. last night. Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram were a beautiful young couple. In fact, we learned that Yaron was planning to propose to Sarah next week in Jerusalem. Yaron's father, Daniel, spoke about the young couple's devotion for one another this morning. He said, "They were in love, one for the other. The embassy told us they were like a star couple at the embassy. I never expected something like this. He had his whole life." The evil of anti-Semitism must be eradicated from our society. I spoke to the Attorney General this morning. The Department of Justice will be prosecuting the perpetrator responsible for this to the fullest extent of the law. Hatred has no place in the United States of America under President Donald Trump. Everyone here at the White House is praying for the victims' friends and families during this unimaginable time. Now for some scheduling announcements.
All right, before she gets into that, it was a terrorist attack. And here's the video of when they caught the guy. And I'm like, why is my camera off? Like, I didn't know it looked like that. But here's the video of when they caught him.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
And that's why Trump is revoking student visas. That's why he's pulling them. Matter of fact, a lot of visas, but mainly student visas. The last time they caught themselves trying to have a protest in a library, what happened? They prosecuted every single last one of them. Like, oh, you want to barricade yourself in? Go ahead. Like, we'll just tear gas the place. Like, you not getting out. Like, we'll make you stay in there. Like, you're not getting out unless you show your student ID. And if you don't have a student ID, then what are you doing here? You definitely gotta go. But that's where we're at now. And I was saying this last year when we had the protests on the campuses. I'm like, why are they letting this go on? Like, you need to stamp this out. This is a Middle East problem. Do not bring that garbage over here. Don't bring it over here. We don't want it here. That's y'all. That's a y'all thing. Keep that crap over there. Y'all hurt each other over there. Don't bring it here. We got enough problems. Then you had that goofy woman in Congress talking about, oh, you're just yanking student visas. You yanked that girl's student visa because she wrote an article in a newspaper. Like, yeah, she was here, a Palestinian here on a visa, wrote some rather defaming words in an article in a student newspaper. If you don't like it here, well, then get the hell out. Simple as that. You ain't got to be here. Nobody's keeping you here. Matter of fact, we'll help you pack. Because nowhere on the planet Earth can you go to anybody else's country and complain about, don't even complain about the country. Don't even complain about the corner grocery store. You are an American. You are nothing but a wallet. You are opportunity. That's all you are with your American passport. You're an opportunity. Mind your place. You don't run this. Colonizer. Yeah, what's up, Redfield? What's up, Jibba Jabba? You know, like watch, mind your business. Even if you black. Especially if you black. Mind your place. The K word that they call you in Africa. The F-er on it. Shoot. That's what killed me with the whole South Africa thing. You got us sitting up here. You know what? I'm not going to go on a rant, but I will say this. How many, and this will really put it to the test to show you just how pro-blackity black somebody really is, with all of their little race talk. If Trump suddenly extended to black Americans, African Americans, Afros, ADOS, whatever the hell you want to call yourself, like, hey, pick a flight, and I'll give you $1,000 to set up. Better yet, I'll give you $10,000 to set up. Wherever you want to go, $10,000. Better yet, okay, sweeten the pot. $150,000. U.S. American. And you go set up shop wherever you want. One-way ticket. Since, you hate it here so much. Many of these Pan-Africans would take them up on that offer. Like, seriously. You stamp stuff out. You stamp stuff like this, these murders out through legislation. You just enforce the laws of your legislation. You want to talk smack about a country that granted you a visa, a student visa at that? Get the hell out of here. Yeah, we do believe in free speech, but we also believe in consequences for your free speech too. Go ahead and yell fire in a movie theater and see what happened. Do you not suffer consequences for that? Just saying.
On Saturday morning, President Trump will deliver the commencement address at the United States Military Academy at West Point. On Monday, to commemorate Memorial Day, the president will visit Arlington National Cemetery and participate in a wreath-laying ceremony. The president will further honor our military next month on June 14th when he hosts the 250th anniversary of the United States Army with a grand military parade celebration right here in our nation's capital. President Trump will be joined by veterans, active duty troops, wounded warriors, Gold Star families, and patriotic Americans from across the country to celebrate our heroes who have kept us safe. Tickets for the parade and the celebration are available through the America 250 Commission's event registration portal. It will be a truly historic and special day for our country. After the parade, President Trump will travel to the G7 Leaders Summit in Canada from June 15th through the 17th. We will be sending an additional logistics information out after the briefing.
You know what? Let me say this. You see how Trump is having problems with immigration, right? And a lot of these Democratic leaders and people talking heads on TV keep comparing this illegal migrant situation to slavery and the Holocaust. And we as black people, especially Michael Singleton, I love that he did that on TV. He G-checked Angela Navarro. Like, stop comparing us to this. This is nothing like slavery. I don't even know why that came out of her goddamn mouth. And then that turned around and had that goofy white woman turn around and try to say this, tried to double down. She tried to say it too. And Michael just looked at Abby like, I'm not even going to entertain this chick. Like she just, because I mean, she's only there for a soundbite. You know the one I'm talking about. One look like her cheeks are sucked in. You know, and with the dumbest of takes. At any rate, I always wondered why the Jews never said anything, because we definitely were saying things. Like, why are y'all so quiet? You know, y'all act like gay people when women use being gay as a derogatory slur towards straight men who tell them no. Like, and y'all just say nothing. But, you know, you turn around and go shopping with that same chick who called a straight man gay as a way of trying to hurt his feelings. Like, are you serious? Like, you're very stupid. Why do you say nothing? So Trump with this illegal immigration deportation situation where they're giving them hell about it, the Jews never said anything because they were never really directly affected. I mean, when they were, Trump passed the anti-protest law on campus. So now you have, and they were deporting, you know, Palestinians and other students from other foreign nations. They were deporting them up out of here for taking part in those protests, because those protests, not only are they anti-Jewish, but they're also anti-American. You're supporting Hamas, which is separate from the Palestinian people. They're a terrorist organization. The Palestinian people are not all terrorists. No, it's a shame what happened to Gaza, but that was always the plan. You know, that was always the plan. You watch it ever since, what, 46, 48, whenever they got there, you just watch the map, they just gradually just swallowed up all their land. So this was the final push. But yeah, now this Rodriguez, a Hispanic at that, a Hispanic. The dude's last name is Rodriguez. You shot two Jewish people talking about some free Palestine. You know, you pulled the Hamas. You literally pulled the Hamas on two Jewish people. And I mean, it was almost like you targeted them. But no matter. Simple fact is that you did it. I think now, because for them, after what happened after World War II, the two that he shot was one too many. You know, it was really two too many. But the simple fact that you, as a Hamas supporter, shot one of us, you know, do understand the one power that the Jews do have over most especially American society is that it will never happen again. Do you understand? I mean, you can't even get out of pocket verbally without them like wanting to have a conversation with you. You know, they had Farrakhan playing the fiddle because of some stuff that Khalid Muhammad had said. Had them playing the fiddle. What's up, Detroit 313? That's a repulsive comparison. Like, LGB is equivalent to the black struggle, right? Media and setting the narrative, right? So I think now they're going to get up off of their ass and get involved. They are not going to let a Democratic Congress and these federal judges get in the way of deporting people, especially those who have Palestinian passports and are here on visas or green cards or whatever. Because see, you don't see Jewish on Palestinian violence here, and you don't really see Palestinian on Jewish violence here. You might see some destruction of property or something like that. But as far as like at this level, you see what they do to them little Palestinian kids who throw rocks? They drag them off and throw them in a cell, probably never to be seen or heard from again. this is what you want to do on American soil, where they have even more power because they're all in government. Yeah, you done fucked up now. Yeah, and screwed up now. I mean, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Wait until they start interrogating the dude. Wait until they start holding press conferences based on what he said. Because I mean, he a big dope boy. He don't look like he, I'll never talk coppers. He's not one of those type of dudes. He the type that's gonna be in there with a 12-piece KFC bucket with the mashed potatoes and a large cherry soda, singing like a hummingbird. If he knows what's best for him. Yeah, they done. Israel has now entered the chat. I'm telling you, this racism stuff, all this bigotry and hatred, all that stuff, you stamp it out with legislation. You start throwing people in jail for that stuff. You see, they charged the white cop that shot the black dude down in Texas. The guy opened the door with a gun in his head, and the cop popped him. Well, I mean, law officials, they say that it was it looked to be a me or him situation. I mean, he opened the door with a gun in his hand. You tell him to drop it, he don't. I mean, as far as a cop is concerned, it's a you or me situation. I mean, we saw what happened with the Asian cop that got his face all cut up by the former basketball chick. I mean, if you go to, what was that? There's a body cam Telegram channel. All they do is just show body cams footage of police activity, and the stuff be crazy. They be going through some stuff. They be going through some crazy stuff. But yes, it was a me or him situation. Well, they finally decided that they wanted to charge the guy. So at least the brother is getting a trial. At least he's getting a trial. Anyway, let's get. Oh, and by the way, for those freaking out about what happened with the cops that beat Tyree Nichols to death, about the state dropping the charges, understand these guys are already been found guilty in federal court. They just haven't been sentenced yet. All right, they haven't been sentenced by federal court yet. So the state got out of their way. Like, we just not even gonna touch it. They already found guilty, because if we try it, of course, we're going to find them guilty and we're going to give them some years. And then there might be a situation with the state. They might be able to get parole because of the laws and all of this stuff. And there's a chance they might get out early. So we'll just let federal court handle it, because I'm pretty sure you're, probably going to slap them with at least, at minimum, 20 years. Just like you did, what's the guy, the George Floyd guy? Not Pentalio. No, that was the one that choked out the dude with the cigarettes. It's a shame that we know these guys' names. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. The good news is that Derek Chauvin, thank you. Jibber jabber. Derek Chauvin, thank you. Derek Chauvin got 20 years and he got 22 punctures. I mean, that you're gonna get them years. There's the Trump administration too. All eyes are watching that. I know he hasn't said anything about it because he's not worried, but they're gonna get sentenced to at least 20 years in federal. And you got to do what, about 85% of that before they even think about maybe putting your name down to be seen by the parole board. And they former cops too, going to prison. Woo. Better be glad Fleece Johnson is out. Anyway.
Last night, Republicans in the House passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, the most significant piece of legislation in years. There were a lot of good faith negotiations in the Republican conference leading up to the final passage, but as always, President Trump came in at the end to bring all sides together and get this deal done. This One Big Beautiful Bill will implement President Trump's Make America Great Again agenda by delivering the largest tax cut in American history for middle-class families, the working class, and small businesses. The One Big Beautiful Bill fulfills President Trump's promises of no tax on tips, which was applauded today by the CEO of Uber, no tax on overtime, a Made in America auto tax break, Trump savings accounts for newborn babies, and substantial tax cuts for our amazing seniors' Social Security benefits. The One Big Beautiful Bill will permanently...
You got to do 85% before they even talk about parole. But yeah, you get parole. But if you got to do at least 85%. Sorry, let me get back.
Secure the border by delivering the largest border security investment in history, funding at least 1 million annual removals of illegal aliens to carry out the largest deportation campaign ever, finishing the Trump border wall, and giving pay raises and bonuses for our incredible ICE and Border Patrol agents. The One Big Beautiful Bill protects the Medicaid program and its benefits for the most vulnerable Americans that the program was designed for, by kicking off 1.4 million illegal aliens from receiving benefits and implementing common sense work requirements for able-bodied Americans.
Told you, that's what Doge did. They went in there, they found them illegals on Social Security, and Medicaid with Social Security numbers. I was like, they only got read only, right? Like, yeah. And then the federal judge gave them, full access, because this was the plan, to kick the illegals off Social Security and Medicaid. But the only way to do that, you have to have full access. So a federal judge granted full access. That's right when Trump said, hey, look, we'll pay for your flight home and give you $1,000 when you get there. We'll go ahead and book it through the app. Book it through the app, because once we kill your Social Security number, you ain't gonna be able to work here in the United States. You ain't gonna be able to cash a check. Democrats was pissed. Ooh, they was pissed.
The One Big Beautiful Bill also helps get our fiscal house in order by carrying out the largest deficit reduction in nearly 30 years with $1.6 trillion in mandatory savings. Every single Democrat in the House of Representatives who voted against all of these common sense and massively popular policies. The Democrat Party has never been more radical and out of touch with the needs of the American people. The One Big Beautiful Bill is the final missing piece toward ushering the golden age of America. The Senate should pass this as quickly as possible and send it to President Trump's desk for a final signature. After today's briefing, President Trump will hold a Make America Healthy Again event alongside Secretary Kennedy and several other cabinet secretaries to unveil the Maha Commission report. President Trump wants every child in America to grow up and to live a long and healthy life. That's why he's working alongside Secretary Kennedy to end the chronic disease epidemic to keep our children healthy, safe, and disease-free. The Maha Commission report is a historic assessment, the first of its kind by any presidential administration, of current evidence and research about the health crisis affecting America's children. This report is a review of pre-existing research to comprehensively assess what we understand about our health problems and what we don't understand, and how we can find those answers. All of the findings will be based on the gold standard of science. And I think I speak for all Maha moms across the country when I say we look forward to the president's event and remarks later this afternoon. And as we head into the Memorial Day weekend, a quick update on gas prices. According to the fuel savings platform Gas Buddy, the national average price of gasoline is expected to be $3.08 on Memorial Day. We expect that to continue to decline because of the president's energy policies. but this is down from Memorial Day last year. And adjusted for inflation, it's the second cheapest price for a gallon of gas on Memorial Day since 2003, thanks to President Trump. And finally, in other news, the Department of Homeland Security conducted a deportation flight from Texas to remove vicious illegal criminals in the United States. All of these individuals were sent or are trying to be sent to a third country. And President Trump promised to get vicious illegal alien murderers, rapists, and pedophiles like these out of our country, and he is trying to deliver on this promise. But no matter how upset this makes Democrats, we will continue to deport these monsters to keep Americans safe. And here are the heinous individuals who were on that flight. A Cuban national, convicted of homicide, armed robbery, false impersonation of an official, kidnapping, and robbery strong arm. A Cuban national convicted of attempted first-degree murder with a weapon. A citizen of Laos convicted of first-degree murder and robbery. A Mexican national convicted of second-degree murder. A citizen of South Sudan convicted of robbery and the possession of a firearm. A citizen of Burma convicted of lascivious acts with a child less than 12 years old. A citizen of Burma convicted of first-degree sexual assault involving a victim mentally and physically incapable of resisting. It's disgusting. And a Vietnamese national convicted of first-degree murder. Now, a liberal activist district court judge in the city of Boston, Massachusetts, is trying to force the President of the United States to bring these monsters back to our country. Judge Brian Murphy is ordering the Department of Homeland Security to give these illegal criminals 15 days to reopen their immigration cases with access to phones and attorneys. Every single one of these individuals, I will add, had final orders of removal from our country. And now Judge Murphy is forcing federal officials to remain in Djibouti for over 2 weeks, threatening our U.S. diplomatic relationships with countries around the world, and putting these agents' lives in danger by having to be with these illegal murderers, criminals, and rapists. This is completely absurd. Judge Brian Murphy is not the Secretary of State. He is not the Secretary of Defense or the Commander-in-Chief. He is a district court judge in Massachusetts. He cannot control the foreign policy or the national security of the United States of America, and to suggest otherwise is being completely absurd. According to new reporting about this judge, he's a registered Democrat in Massachusetts who during his Senate confirmation hearings failed to disclose his ties to a radical left-wing organization that claimed the word illegal to describe illegal aliens was inherently prejudicial.
Wow.
This massive judicial overreach by Judge Murphy is part of the same opposition our administration has faced since day one.
He needs to recuse
Radical
himself from the
left-wing
bench.
judges are egregiously trying to stop President Trump from using his core constitutional powers as head of the executive branch and commander-in-chief. These judicial activists want to unilaterally stop President Trump from deporting foreign terrorists and keeping the American people safe.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I've been saying this ever since they really started getting out of hand with this, is that the Supreme Court has to get involved. The Supreme Court is supposedly looking into this, but in all honesty, the Trump administration needs to go. They need to bring the case before the Supreme Court, that before a district court judge, the district court judge does not agree with what the president is doing, and they feel that it should be adjudicated, then they need to come before the Supreme Court. They don't have the power to bang the gavel on something that the president is doing. Like, you know, you guys, you're in your areas. You don't get the briefings that I get. You don't tell me what to do. Like, literally, you do not tell me what to do. But because you have a challenge, because understand, this is all these are just challenges. It's a stop. I challenge you on this, and then it gets kicked up to the Supreme Court or whatever, and then they rule on it. But it's like all you're doing is just gumming up the works. But at this point, if I'm the Trump administration, I go before the Supreme Court and I petition that these district and federal judges, if they have a grievance with what I'm doing as the president, then they need to come and see you and let you adjudicate it. Simple as that. Like, Like, seriously, because this is just, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because, in all honesty, let's be honest, the Democrats really aren't trying to make a point with all of this garbage. They're just being irritants because they're not winning these situations. You know, they're just gumming up the works, but they're being irritants. Cool. You don't want me to kick these illegals out of the country? We can build some prisons. We have prisons. We can build one right in your backyard. Won't that be fun? Since you love them so much, you can have them as neighbors. But this is ridiculous. This is silly. You're just being an irritant. You say, are some group files suit in a favorable district correct? Yes. The Democrats shop for Democrat-friendly judges. You know, those that are on the team. And then they get the judge to file a motion. And then they do it. And then now it's got to get kicked up to the Supreme Court. It's a waste of time. The Supreme Court should really be telling them, like, hey, look, God damn it, I'm tired of y'all calling me at my golf courses and dinner parties and hookah lounges, you know, while I'm in bed to come and have to deal with this crap. Like every week, y'all, damn, I ain't worked this hard in my life. You guys are getting on my nerves with this. Stay out of his business. Damn. I mean, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet.
Nearly 80 million Americans re-elected this president to deport illegal criminals from our homeland. And polling consistently shows that 90% of Americans want illegal alien criminals, especially those with final orders of removal from our country, who have chosen to continue to stay here illegally. Americans want these people sent home. We hope the Supreme Court will continue to rein this in as soon as possible to restore proper constitutional order in our country. We'll take some questions. And here in our new media suite today, we have Jillian Michaels. She's a renowned personal health expert. I know all of you know her. I certainly do, watching fitness videos growing up. And a media powerhouse who continues to expand her reach with her podcast, Keeping It Real. Jillian, I know you're here today for the Make America Healthy Again event. We're proud to welcome you to the White House. Thanks for being in the briefing. Why don't you go ahead?
Thank you for having me. As a Maha mom yourself, how do you interpret the significance of this report in terms of delivering measurable health improvements for Americans and their kids? And what specific actions does the administration plan to take in response to it?
Sure. Well, thank you for the question. And again, thank you very much
for being here.
I would like to emphasize, we held a call earlier today with Secretary Kennedy, Secretary Rollins, Administrator Zeldin, and other officials at Health and Human Services to talk about the gravity of this report. When the president took office, he promised to make this country healthy again. And the president signed an executive order directing this commission. And now, less than 100 days later, the commission is delivering this report. It's another promise made and another promise kept. And the report identifies 4 major factors that are contributing to the rise in childhood chronic disease. Again, this is the first time the federal government has really recognized in a single report that we have a problem in our country. Our children are getting sicker, not healthier. This is not just a crisis, a health crisis, but it poses national security implications as well. And this administration is focused on ensuring we understand why. The 4 factors contributing to the report, as you will all hear from the president later, are number 1, poor diet, a robust discussion about ultra-processed food that are dominating our children's diets, environmental chemical exposure, plastics and other chemicals that are unfortunately a part of our daily American life. It talks about the lack of physical activity and chronic stress. and how technology-driven lifestyles are contributing to the decline of our children's physical and mental health. And then lastly, the report touches on the over-medicalization that's taking place in our American society, nowhere else in the world, but just right here in the United States of America. And the report directs the entire administration to understand why these issues are happening and what public policy can the administration implement to ensure that we are fostering a more healthy country for our children. So I'll leave it at that and let the president and his team speak more about this historic report later. But this should be good news for everyone. I don't care what your politics are. We should all agree that we want our children to be healthy and safe, and we want our food supply to be healthy and safe. We have the best farmers and ranchers in the world right here in the United States of America. And we have the best workers in the world. We have the best people in the world. But unfortunately, we have a health crisis that's been plaguing us for too long. And this report speaks to the heart of it. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Garrett, go ahead.
Caroline, you guys are very proud of your record on transparency. I have 2 transparency-related questions for you.
Sure.
On the president's dinner tonight, will the White House commit to making a list of the attendees public so people can see who's paying for that kind of access to the president?
All right. Y'all know I got to do this. Okay, you see our girl Caitlin Clark, the most irritating reporter in television today. She's in the room. I heard that she got testy with somebody. I wonder if it's her. More than likely. And this guy right here, he always wearing this yellow tie. He always wear the blue and yellow combo. I guess that's his power tie. And of course, your California cutie, she back. Looks like she's back from the last time I saw it. Looks like we've got a Jewish reporter in the room right here. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is going to get contentious from some of the video titles I scrolled past. I didn't want to hear anything concerning this, but I heard they got real testy. But let's go.
Well, as you know, Garrett, this question has been raised with the president. I have also addressed the dinner tonight. The president is attending it in his personal time. It is not a White House dinner. It's not taking place here at the White House, but certainly I can raise that question and try to get you an answer for it.
Okay, and on the Qatari aircraft, the Air Force has said they're going to classify all the information about the work that has to get done to bring it up to snuff to be Air Force One. Previous Air Force One contracts, including the one that the president entered into in 2018, are public. That's available knowledge. Will the White House commit to releasing who's doing that work and the cost of that work? I understand that some elements might be classified about specific systems, but will you commit to releasing that basic information so people can see ultimately what this costs?
Well, Garrett, as you know, that's a question for the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, who is accepting this jet as part of their fleet.
Declassify anything he wants.
Well, you'll have to ask the Department of Defense and the United States Air Force, who is accepting this jet as part of its fleet. Peter.
The president can declassify anything that he wants.
That's his name.
Has he looked to see if there are any records here that would contradict what we've been told about Joe Biden's decline?
He has not directed anyone, to my knowledge, to look into that, but surely I can ask him if he intends to. I think the president has spoken on this pretty extensively, and I have spoken about it extensively from this podium as well, how it was truly one of the worst political scandals this country has ever seen, that the previous administration covered up the decline in the former president's mental and physical ability. And it's now all coming out, but the American people knew the truth, and that's one of the many reasons why President Trump won the election on November 5th.
You know what? And here's the beauty of it. Remember, like, Inauguration Day, or actually ever since Hunter Biden was pardoned, which we don't even know is Trump. I mean, if Biden actually did it, but still, he said he did, so he did. But they're saying that all of the pardons that were signed with AutoPen, that they're pretty much, because of this, they're null and void. They're trying to figure out who used that AutoPen. And it's not like it's just sitting on his desk and you can go in there and, you know, press the on button and it's good to go. Like, I mean, that's the presidential signature. Somebody had to sign that out. An ID was, you know, used. That's not the guest book at the Holiday Inn in the 70s. No. So They want to know who was using that auto pen, who was signing it out, who used it, who put it back. All I do is just check the records, which I think they probably already done. Which is probably why Kash Patel is going through his second round of lie detector tests for the agents that are in his agency. Like you see, those who were involved in the January 6th investigations, they got transferred to different little crap town little assignments or whatnot. But he's trying to bring in his own agents who are just there to do their job. You know, so yeah, I figure once he's done with that, I think a lot of these, just like with Monica MacGyver, you have a choice. Either you can admit to what you did and step down, or we can continue to press charges on you. You know, like we'll cost you some money, whether we win, lose, or draw. We're going to cost you some money. You're going to learn. We're going to try to make an example out of you, but you have an option. I think that's really going to be a lot of options. I think Trump is going to start playing these prosecution cards and be like, I ain't got nothing to do with it. You know, like look at Letitia James. Look at Letitia James. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, they dug up that she guilty of the same thing she accused Trump of doing. Whereas Weijia Zhang, she in there. Like, this is deeper scandal than Reagan's second term. Like, who typed the access code? Exactly. They want to know all of this stuff. So, yeah, that's when he gonna start Letitia James and people. I mean, Fani Willis, she down here, she's so scared she don't even want to show up to the Georgia Supreme Court to answer questions about the money. You thought they was just gonna let that go? They talking about throwing her in jail. These people are not playing with you. Let's go. But with Joe, okay, Joe has stage 4 prostate cancer that spread to his bones. That's the same thing my father got. He didn't get that until after he got his 2 Moderna shots for COVID. I told him, I said, don't get them shots, man. Them shots will kill you. He ain't want to listen. So he got the 2 shots. And I'm not saying that they're linked, but suddenly stage 4 cancer spread to prostate cancer spread to his bones. I'm just saying. A lot of the people pardoned worked for Dr. Fauci. They were selling pardons. I think it was pardons for sale. I think they, in essence, pardoned. They said they pardoned about 6 or 60,000 people because they were for sale. I mean, it was nothing but a money-making machine, boy. Presidential pardons. Man, anyway, let's go.
President Trump says that he basically thinks unelected Biden staffers concealed his decline so that they could use the levers of power for their own personal gain.
Well,
in matter of fact, now that I think about it, as far as mental acuity, him and my father sound just alike. One minute he's making sense, the next minute, I need to go up on the 3rd floor. There is no 3rd floor. Yes, there is. Any rate.
Look, that's not just the president thinking that, Peter. There's a new book out. I don't know if any of you have heard about it. Again, a little bit too late because the American people knew the truth on this from the very beginning. And there were reporters in this room, including some from your network, Peter. I'll give you a little bit of credit here, who have said that clearly Joe Biden's staff. Yeah,
they're not going to prosecute Biden. That dude was mentally incompetent. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. Lindy Lee, when we did the interview, I'm sorry, y'all, but Lindy, I mean, y'all hear me, right? Lindy Lee said in her interview on the Sean Ryan show that they hid Biden away from her, and that, you know, Biden's routine, from what she saw, was, you know, he doesn't come out of the presidential quarters, you know, residential quarters, till like 10 o'clock. And he'll plop down and he'll watch Morning Joe while drinking his coffee, because that's where he was getting his news from. And then I guess whatever presidential duties he was capable of doing, then they were done. But by 4 p.m., he was back off into presidential quarters. Oh, don't worry about it, man. I appreciate it. Don't worry about it. It's an honor. You know, that's my father. See, my mom thought I had a woman and a baby in the attic. We have no attic, right? One time he was outside at my car at the back door, holding on to it for dear life, talking about he got to get to Franklin Street. I'm like, it was like 2:30 in the morning. That's why sometimes I'll be on here, I'll be tired. Yeah. Any rate, so let's go. Yeah, Biden was like that. Remember, he was wandering off into the freaking jungle of South America, out in Brazil. He wandered off into the jungle. They had to go get him. He's standing there spaced out. He wandered off a few times. Can't even walk up or down, but especially up a flight of stairs. You know, the dude put on the Trump hat. That was when he put on the Trump hat. Oh my God. I know the staffers that were with him, they probably shit a brick, literally. Oh my God. Who the hell was running the White House? And now, according to reports, Jill was always around him. Him and Hunter, they were always around him. Come on, cocaine in the White House. It wasn't Kamala. Kamala's not a cokehead. She's a drinker, not a sniffer. Anyway, yeah, the hillbillies in the White House.
Staffers were engaging in this cover-up. So this is common sense. This isn't the president making it up. These are facts that are now finally being revealed.
Wow.
Right, and I'm not saying the president's making it up, but he specifically talks about the auto pen. He thinks that staffers were using this auto pen.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some kind of like a badge that you have to swipe to use an auto pen? Is there a record of that?
I can tell you here at this White House, the president signs any document that has legal implications. The president signs every executive order. He signs every proclamation. He signs pretty much every document that is needed for the president's signature, with the exception of maybe some letters to children. From what we have heard and seen, that was not the case in the previous administration, and the president is raising good questions that are worth looking into. And as for Maha, I'm going to take a sip of water, if that's okay with you guys. Go.
Hold on, wait. She didn't answer the question though. Like, don't you got to sign it out? Don't you got to scan your badge in? I mean, come on. This is the presidential's auto pen. This is a presidential signature. You know, it's not like a library book where you can sit it down on the desk and thumb through it and then put it back. Like, what? Come on. Answer the question. We all want to know, because if the answer is yes, then y'all already know no. And that's probably why she's there, why she's not answering the question. Like, because no, we want them to sweat, which is a beautiful tactic. We want them to sweat, just like with the Epstein list. This whole Diddy Cassie thing. Okay, we all know Cassie's not a victim. She was that girl's ooh. Hey. Sores on her tongue and still can't get enough. Good Lord. I love you, Cassie. Her husband. Woo, bruh. Good Lord. You that's the white Travis Hunter right there. Some child is looking at his Trump letter and feels shit. What? Oh, you talking about the Cassie thing? Look, man, I've been trying to stay away from the Diddy trial, but I have a Facebook page and people make memes and little videos, and I mean, good Lord, and I can't get away from it. I did not need to know that Diddy would have Cassie take another man's nectar and rub them on like his certain parts of his chest. He liked it when she did that. He would make her do that. I don't need to know these things. I don't need to know these things. But I know these things. I know about tongue sores and still going. I don't need to know these things. I don't need to know why she was depressed because, you know, hearing Little Ma say that she liked being urinated on sent Cassie, as her husband said, it sent her into a depression. And it's like, because she's more than likely reminiscing about the good old days, and now here she is having boring old regular intercourse with Brad here, you know. Like, dude, like, you're not even touching my wall. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, it sent her into depression. She missed those good old days. She missed the life. I mean, damn, she called him. She was talking to him while at a freak off. He was her boyfriend then. She was no victim. At any rate. Right. You know, people think that, oh, it's over. They let Diddy go. So like, dude, Cassie is just the first witness. Like, don't you understand? They got videotapes. The people on those tapes are going to be witnesses. They want to know if he was using blackmail. So they got her story. And apparently she wasn't being blackmailed. She's a willing participant. Okay, next witness. Like, the trial ain't over. Like, you kidding me? It just started. Relax. Anyway.
Go ahead.
Caroline, back to the presidential gala tonight. Did anyone in the White House or in the White House counsel's office advise the president against holding this sweepstakes, whereby people who spent the most money on his Trump coin would then have access to the president at this dinner?
Again, the president has been asked about this. He has addressed this. I have also stated previously from this podium that the president is abiding by all conflict of interest laws that are applicable to the president. And I think everybody, the American public, believe it's absurd for anyone to insinuate that this president is profiting off of the presidency. This president was incredibly successful before giving it all up to serve our country publicly. And not only has he lost wealth, but he also almost lost his life. He has sacrificed a lot to be here, and to suggest otherwise is frankly completely absurd.
Plus, he doesn't even, I mean, he doesn't even draw a salary. He didn't take a salary the first time he was president, and he's not taking the salary now. Him and Elon, they were working for free. Trump is working for free. Working for free. And the whole Trump coin thing, like, everybody puts out the coin. Whether you buy it or not is up to you. But in all honesty, unless if the Trump coin, if it's seen as a charity and it's a legit charity, cool. But if it's just a business model, well, we'll see.
Does the White House have any concerns?
Round of nuclear talks between Iran and the U.S. is going to take place on Friday in Rome. What is the president anticipating ahead of that? And if a deal doesn't come from that meeting, is he going to walk away?
Well, I'm glad you brought up Iran, because I do have an update. The president spoke to Prime Minister.
The reason why I can't really speak on it, because I don't have all the information on it. So I just wasn't gonna pretend I knew it. Like, we'll just see how it plays out. But I just heard that the Democrats had a problem with it, so If the lawyers are saying that everything's up to snuff, then it's up to snuff. Whatever.
Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. They had a productive discussion. They discussed many things, including, of course, the tragic shooting that took place here in Washington, D.C. last night. But they also did talk about a potential deal with Iran, which the president believes is moving along in the right direction. And as the president told me, and he's told all of you, this deal with Iran could end in two ways. It could end in a very positive diplomatic solution, or it could end in a very negative situation for Iran. So that's why these talks are taking place later this week. Yamish, good to see you.
Hi, good. Thanks for taking the question.
Sure.
The president showed a video that he said showed more than 1,000 burial sites of white South Africans that he said were murdered. We know that that was not true and that the video wasn't showing that. So I wonder, why did the president choose to show that?
True, Yamish?
It's not true. The video was showing a burial site. It is unsubstantiated that that's the case.
No, it is true that that video showed the crosses that represent
what the president claimed.
The video showed images of crosses in South Africa about white farmers who have been killed and politically persecuted because of the color of their skin. And those crosses are representing their lives. Those crosses are representing their lives in the fact that they are now dead and their government did nothing about it. Are you disputing that there's no...
The video showed what the president claimed it showed, because it did not show that. But even more, what I'm asking you is who at the White House...
show that.
Hold on. Well, what the hell did this... See, this is the stuff that I'll be talking about that, you know, this is why they say fatigue. This is why they say black fatigue. Because... what does she think that those crosses represent? I'll show you the video that they're talking about. Let me pull it up here. Because I want to make sure I had all my info. I'm going to show y'all the video that she's talking about. Like, there are white-only towns in South Africa. This is a non-issue.
Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you. Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do with or without you. People are going to occupy land.
The reason why... Oh, okay, for you. Because I'm about to say the reason why it's an issue is because, you know, yesterday this guy came to the White House wanting to make a minerals deal with, you know, Trump, with the United States. He wanted to make a minerals deal because he know there's trillions of dollars in them their hills. That's why when he met with Zelensky, he's got, you know, with the whole thing with with Ukraine, it's the minerals deal. Same thing now with Qatar. Everything is about the money. The minerals is where the money is at. Because with the minerals, you can do tons of things. Scientists are like Mickey Mouse in Fantasia with minerals, you know? Hell, that's what helped keep your steel industry running. At any rate, so they wanted to strike a deal, but Trump was like, hold on, dude, if you want to strike a deal with me after I just flew in these white South African farmers, and whether you want to call it a genocide or not, I mean, they say that 74% of farmers in South Africa are white. So they dominate the field, you know, it's like, you know, the NBA. That's what you do, you know. So instead of like teaching kids how to agriculture, you know, do agriculture, kids and adults and whatnot, we're going to have this violent revolution where we got this racist faction in our government that wants to kill you and take your land. So, but it's not just you that's getting attacked, it's also black farmers too. But you're at a small percentage. So the majority of the people that's getting killed are white farmers, simply because of numbers and also rhetoric used against them. So it's targeted. Now, Scott Jennings says something very matter-of-factly. He said, well, how many he said, how many white farmers have to get killed before you call it a genocide? Say these Afrikaners want Africa without the African. Well, I mean, then you don't have a labor force. You don't have a GDP. You don't collect taxes. You know, I mean, there ain't enough white people willing to move to South Africa. Even if you got rid of all the Africans, you know, the native black Africans, there ain't enough white people that want to live in South Africa. Shit is hot. It's hot. That's why they don't dominate any African countries. It's hot. Dude. In the shade, it's like 120. It's hot. You kidding me? Trust me, if they could comfortably build more infrastructure in northern Canada, trust me, it would happen. It would happen. No, but when Trump pulled their funding back in February, he told them, he said, hey, look, y'all come down here with me. Well, you know, told the white farmers, look, if y'all feel in danger, you know, come on, you can get amnesty with us. We'll welcome you. And you had the white farmers, they were on camera. They were like, no, we good. We staying here. We staying here. So now you have these, 60 people. They were like, you know what? Let's get the hell up out of here. We'll take you up on that. And they're trying to make it a racial issue. And it's like, but he already extended the hand because they took away the funding. Like, we can't protect you. So if you need to get out of town, give us a call. Just head to the embassy. We'll book you a flight. You know? So this was the video that he showed at the White House. I couldn't show the video yesterday because whoever was working the camera didn't put the camera on the video. But this is what they saw, and he was trying not to look at the president of Africa, Ramaphosa.
From the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. How can we drop our membership from this useless parliament? Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill. Gaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer.
Yeah, you say South Africans have been coming here buying southern farmland since the 90s. Yeah, because I mean, they're farming in harsh environments. So coming here to the United States to farm in the South where the sun is, not getting those temperatures, oh my God, you're going to grow some collard greens. You know what I'm saying? You see, this is a rally of them saying kill the farmer. And what I guess what they call the white man in slang over there. Look at that stadium. I mean, I understand it is black unity, but this is radicalism. You say South African have winters with frost. Isn't that nice? It's almost like Atlanta. We get a little frost too. Bazungu. Is that him? Is that the guy? Okay. You are a boar, white man. We're going to hit them, and you are going to run. Shoot the beer, white man. We're going to hit him, and then you're going to run. Oh, that's what they're chanting. We're going to shoot them with the machine gun. They're going to run. We're going to shoot them. This is a song that they're singing. They're going to run. Oh, Muzungu is slang for white. Okay. I mean, I'm not in the, but this is crazy.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who's killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that a white cross, especially on the side of the road, it's especially when you have it in a row like that. We all know that symbolizes that somebody has passed away. It's pretty much like a makeshift, grave site, like remember me, because they'll have those people's names on the crosses. You know what I'm saying? The people aren't actually buried there. It's just like a symbolism on the side of the road. You get like sometimes when I'm going out doing these bartendings, I'll go through like small towns or whatnot, and they'll have like rows, like of these crosses on both sides of the streets for like 2 miles. And come to find out, the town is like a military town. Like a lot of people that joined the military came from this town, and these are all the veterans who lost their lives. So they have the crosses, the white crosses lining the roads on both sides. That's what that is. And then the South African president tried to play like he didn't know that existed. But here you are, you trying to make a minerals deal for me. You say up here they'll fill a parking lot with crosses for abortion. What's up, No News? Like, yeah, you here trying to make a minerals deal with me, and you got all of this radical racism. Your people are getting killed. You're chanting the death of white men, getting machine guns on them and whatnot, and you trying to tell me that this is just a coincidence? All these crosses symbolize a body of a white farmer. Your road is filled with them. You just said, we'll take the land. There's a press conference, an interview of him talking about how they'll just take the land away from the white farmers without compensation. They didn't say white farmers. They just said, we'll, as our ancestral right, we'll confiscate land without compensation because it's our ancestral right. Like, so when Trump asked you, hey, what's going on? I thought you wasn't doing that. I heard you said you was going to do that. He was like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. Like, well, then it's like, why did you say it then? Why are you on videotape saying that? Didn't you sign in the law the same day I was sworn in that the government wasn't going to do that? Did you change your mind? I hope that you just say you changed your mind. Why you sitting up here trying to make a deal with me so you can cash in? Like, the only thing I want you to do is just this. You need to get this radical lunatic out of your government. Then you need to squash whatever actions he's calling himself trying to take. All right, with all of those people. And 3, you need to provide better security on a military level to protect those farmers. Start prosecuting these people. It's ridiculous. The guy called himself bringing his own people in there, and then they spoke about living behind electric fences and how they burned down his father's farm and they burned down a few of his friends' farm. I mean, you made a mistake there. Of course, they're wealthy. They somehow they owning farmland. Poor people don't own farm. I mean, if you got a lucrative farm, trust me, you're good. Dude was talking about building cottages. Yeah, but you have to stamp that out through legislation. And that what we did,
representing people who have perished because of racial persecution.
Verify the videos that the president shows, and what protocols are in place when there's unsubstantiated information being put out for the world and world leaders to
Yamiche,
show.
what's unsubstantiated about the video? The video shows crosses that represent the dead bodies of people who were racially persecuted by their government. In fact, the Associated Press, of all places, has a picture of that very monument, and the caption from the Associated Press is, "Each cross marks a white farmer who has been killed in a farm murder." So it is substantiated, not just by that video and the physical evidence that everybody saw on display in the Oval Office, but also by another outlet in this room, the Associated Press. So you should take it up with them if you believe the claim is unsubstantiated, and that's a ridiculous line of questioning. John, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. The big, beautiful bill now goes to the Senate.
Oh, here you
yes.
A lot of the Republican senators have promised amendments that will water this thing down dramatically. What is the president's level of tolerance for their amendments to water it down? And what will be the action taken for some of the amendments that the president does not want?
Sure. Well,
hold on. I had to let him get his question out. So I understand what you're saying. You say Ramaphosa should have shown the mass graves of blacks killed during apartheid. I have no sympathy for them. I don't either. But it's like at a point you got to have a resolution. You got to have a resolution, because I mean, apartheid had been going on ever since I was born. So I was like, yeah, you know, F the cracker, you know, I was all into that. But I mean, as you grow older and you see how the world is changing, like either you can keep finding ways to be victimized, or you can just live your life without worrying about it and just deal with it appropriately whenever confronted by it, which is very rare in our day-to-day lives. Very rare. You have white fatigue. You know, I just have fatigue. I mean, I'm just tired of everything. I'm tired of everything. Everything is ridiculous nowadays. But, you know, water off a duck's back. Let's go.
The One Big Beautiful Bill is named the One Big Beautiful Bill for a reason, because it is a one big beautiful bill that encompasses just about everything this president could want for the American public. It delivers on so many of his core campaign promises. So surely we want to see those campaign promises signed into law. And as the president put in his Truth Social post this morning, and as he said to me, we can celebrate this past the House for a couple of hours, but now it's time for the Senate to get to work. The president has a great relationship with Senate Majority Leader Thune, and of course, so many friends on the Senate side of the Hill. And he's expecting them to get busy on this bill and send it to his desk as soon as possible. Phil.
Thank you. Given that the president said the other day the SALT cap, we don't want to benefit Democratic governors. If the Senate was to reduce that SALT cap or make any type of changes, would he support that? Or is this a situation where done is beautiful and he just wants to pass it?
Well, look, it's a hypothetical question, obviously. Negotiations, well, correct, and the bill passed, didn't it? So now it's off to the Senate where additional negotiations will take place, and we'll see how it goes. Michael.
Caroline, two questions on the beautiful bill. One of the campaign promises from President Trump was no tax on Social Security. Now, due to congressional rules, that wasn't able to be included in this bill. How does the president plan to follow through on that campaign promise?
Well, this bill did address taxes for our seniors. It actually allows them to take off significant money from their Social Security payments, get more money back, I should say, put more money in their pockets for various reasons. So this bill delivers on that promise. That's the view of the White House.
Secondly, you had two Republicans last night that voted against this bill, Congressman Massey and Davidson. Does the president think that they should be primary?
I believe he does, and I don't think he likes to see grandstanders in Congress. What's the alternative? I would ask those members of Congress. Did they want to see a tax hike? Did they want to see our country go bankrupt? That's the alternative by them trying to vote no. And the president believes the Republican Party needs to be unified. And the vast majority of Republicans clearly are and are listening to the president. They are trusting in President Trump, as they should, because there's a reason he's sitting in this Oval Office. It's because he's the unequivocal leader of the Republican Party, not just a president for Republicans, but all Americans. The president's approval rating is at an all-time high right now. And it's because he knows how to deliver. And Republicans like Thomas Massey and others should take note. Steve.
Can I laugh at? I have to share this. Talking to a guy. He said, because I mean, you can tell where people get their news from, because he said something that was straight out of the CNN, MSNBC, ABC, The View, CBS, and NBC playbook, talking about the tax plan. Oh, it's going to add $3 trillion. Like, dude. Like, relax. Everything works out. Trust me, it's going to work out immediately. As soon as it goes into effect. Like, you make less than $200K, you ain't going to have to worry about paying federal income tax. That's what the ERS is for. That's what the tariffs are for, to form the ERS. So therefore, people who make less than $200K can have money in their pockets. We sitting up here trying to pay chicks $5,000 to have babies. Yeah, she can get some Section 8, and some food stamps or whatnot for 2 years. But, after 2 years, that Section 8 is gone. Welfare probably be the same way. But at any rate, he said he made money the first time Trump was president, but the business that he said he was in, he's not in it anymore. And he tried to blame Trump. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's not his fault. If you made money, then it clearly, there must have been a managerial issue that messed you up. You say Ron Paul has been really quiet. Yeah, like it had to be a managerial issue that messed you up. Because if you have the money, you should be able to spin your way through any problem, unless, of course, it's a managerial issue and you're not recognizing it. So therefore, you went belly up. It's just like when they used to do the kitchen nightmares and whatnot, where Chef Ramsay would show up to a restaurant and the chef swore up, though the owner or the chef swore up and down that it wasn't the food. The problem wasn't the food, even though, every time you go in these people's walk-ins, it's just a nightmare. And having worked in the service industry, you got, well, at least you don't have to worry about food poisoning if you got a chef that is totally in control of his inventory, on top of his inventory in his kitchen. You have less chance of food poisoning. There's a rotted lemon. Come here, go through them. Find all the ones it touched and see if they're infected. Go through all of them, wash them, and then put them back in the walk-in. Like that type of chef. No bad produce in his walk-in. Anyway, I know I'm rambling, but let's get to this.
Steven.
Building on the question about Social Security, the bill includes the president's promises to address taxes on tips and overtime. Could you say his feelings about the income cap? Is he satisfied where that landed? And also on a different matter, can you comment on the investigation that the Justice Department has into Andrew Cuomo?
As for the first question, the president is clearly satisfied where the bill landed because it passed. Again, now it has to go to the Senate, so changes could certainly be made. As for your second question, I would defer you to the Department of Justice.
Okay.
Christian.
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. Can you explain the decision to totally shake up FEMA leadership just a week before hurricane season?
You'd have to ask the Department of Homeland Security in terms of leadership, but certainly the administration, and I know the National Security Council here at the White House is monitoring storms and natural disasters that are happening across the country at all times. We're briefed on those. The administration is briefed on those, and Secretary Noem is leading that effort for sure. Go ahead.
Switching gears, Caroline.
Yeah, just following up on Warren Davidson, I wanted to read you his quote that he posted online. While I love many things in the bill, promising someone else will cut spending in the future does not cut spending. Deficits do matter, and this bill grows them. Why should that get a Republican primary?
This bill saves $1.6 trillion for the American taxpayer. It saves more than any bill that has ever passed Capitol Hill has. In fact, by double. The next bill saved $800 billion. This bill saves $1.6 trillion. So this is a very good bill for the American people, the American taxpayer. And I believe, as an outlet put it, with a headline this morning, it might have been Politico actually, they wrote that the American people are going to be flush with cash when this thing is signed into law. And that's a good thing for American taxpayers. Sure, go ahead.
Caroline, what is the president doing to win Senate passage by July 4th? And does that include work to eliminate carried interest and make business tax cuts permanent? Where is he on those issues?
Well, look, this bill literally just passed the House of Representatives. So now our team is suiting up for discussions with the Senate side of Capitol Hill. The president, again, said this morning he hopes to get this bill at his desk as soon as possible. And he'll be engaged in the process to get it through the Senate, just like he was to get it through the House of Representatives.
Matter of fact, I can cover that right now. From what I'm understanding, and I give credit to Pink Book Lessons because she does her homework. I'll give her that. She does her homework. You see, the press conference was a DEI dream nightmare. That's exactly what I'm about to talk about. Look, if they escape from prison, the sheriff, whoever's in charge of the prison, which was the sheriff, that's your girl, that's your wheelhouse. You're supposed to protect your house. This is the main thing that you're over is the jail. Do you understand? You're over the jail. And I understand that you have budgeting nightmares, especially when it comes to the infrastructure. So if you know you have budgeting nightmares because of the infrastructure, don't you think you need to hire some type of outside perimeter source? Don't you think you need to hire a building inspector? Oh my God, that chick. Wait a minute, hold on. Don't you think you need to hire some building inspectors to find out where the weak spots in the prison? Because we're looking for specific areas where inmates can get out, a possible jailbreak situation. So they probably would have found that in that whole toilet situation, but you didn't do that because you too busy running around, going to dinner parties and shaking hands and, sitting at your big oak desk, barking orders instead of doing your damn job. So somebody should have been outside. How do you spend? And I understand they say that it looked like an inside job because the one attendant, the most activity, the most chance that an inmate would try to escape is at night. So you had one attendant watching those inmates, and then they went to a lunch. They went to lunch. And it took those dudes 45 minutes to break out of that prison. So what type of lunch break were you taking? Like nobody else? I mean, you could have brought your lunch back to the tower. I guess there's a TV in the break room, or maybe she got caught up in her phone or his, whoever. But that's why they saying it appears to be an inside job simply based on the timeline. And then to sit up there where the guys got away and nobody noticed they were missing until the morning when they did the head check tells me that after that person came back from their lunch break, they didn't even do a check. They didn't look to see if anything was suspicious. They didn't make any rounds. I mean, the toilet was ripped open. It ain't like the toilet in a jail is, in another room. Order Uber Eats to deliver to the pen, right? I mean, these dudes. But she trying to say they all blaming me. Yes, they escaped from your prison. Yes. It don't matter about the budget and all of that stuff. You supposed to secure. All you had to do was just have the freaking woman. You could have hired one other person, or maybe had your guard do a head count, or just to walk around and make some rounds. I mean, security guards nowadays don't just sit in one place. They run around with this thing that they tap on the metal bar, just to show that they're making their rounds, instead of off sleeping somewhere. Yeah, she had one job to do. That's her fault. Just the one. The old Loki thing. These dudes was gone for hours. The day shift came and what is this? Why is this toilet like this? Hold on. Do a head count. Why is this door open? I mean, good Lord. But the chick with the green glasses, this was her moment to shine. You can tell she, at her age, she'd be at the Mardi Gras flashing her breasts with beads. She's still in that era. And Cantrell, I mean, good Lord, that woman is a mess. I mean, the only thing stopping her from being Tiffany Henry 2.0 was that she's not stealing money. She just caught up in messiness. You say then Keisha Bottoms, mayor of Atlanta, is now running for governor. Man, fatigue. Yeah, but I mean, they caught some of those guys. They upped the bounty now to 20K. At first it was 2K. I think first it was 1K. Then the last day I saw a physical show, it was 2K. And then I watched, of course, the video with the press conference where the state attorney general, whatever, he upped it to $20,000 for tips to where these guys are. And it was like, they've been gone so long, like the FBI was like, they probably skipped state lines. The victims, the reason why they got arrested in the first place, the victims there, they got them on high alert. Yeah, that sheriff gonna lose her job.
For instance, did he give the Freedom Caucus members to kind of ensure that this would get through last night was changes to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac part of that equation, changes administratively to Medicaid as well?
Well, I was in that meeting yesterday with the president and House Freedom Caucus, and he told them how he wants to be a cheerleader for them, a cheerleader for the Republican Party and for the country. And Republicans faced a pivotal moment yesterday. They could have voted to bankrupt the country and increase taxes by $4 trillion, or they could vote for this one big, beautiful bill, which cuts taxes and saves American taxpayers money. And he put that proposition before them, and clearly they heeded the call because the bill passed last night. Sure.
Caroline, so on the
or this morning rather. Every day is going into the next. Go ahead.
The Netanyahu call. Just curious, did the president raise the flow of aid into Gaza? Is he happy with where that situation is right now?
Not to my knowledge, but I can certainly go back and check.
And then, did you have any?
Right, because now that the last hostage has been freed, there's no reason to stop aid into Gaza. Like that was the whole point, right? We withhold aid to your people until all the hostages are freed. So now that all the hostages are freed, go ahead and feed these people, okay? And Caitlin Collins is just waiting her turn, boy. She waiting her turn like a freaking cobra. Well, let's see what they have to say.
Any reaction to the Supreme Court's ruling about the religious charter school today, as well as Justice Tony Barrett's decision to recuse herself?
We'll get you an answer on that case specifically. Sure.
You mentioned
Oh yeah, the charter school, a religious charter school wanted government funds to help fund the school, but the government is saying hell no, because I mean, if you're going to be teaching religion, church and state, no, we're not funding you. Church and state is separate. You're a private institution. You're a private institution specifically for, you know, a religious sect. So charge your students, charge your parent, charge the students' parents, like every private school does. Charge them. Maybe you can hire Umar as the principal.
The president has a good relationship with Leader Thune. Has he talked to him specifically about the plan to get this through the Senate? Does he plan, or is he going to reach out to Republicans who have voiced concerns?
Not to my knowledge has he spoken to Leader Thune this morning. He very well could have. I just wasn't briefed on that call. We can go back and check for you. The president did speak to Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning. He also had a call with President Sheinbaum this morning. He was receiving his intelligence briefing. He's been very busy all morning. But again, he certainly intends to remain active and engaged in these negotiations with the United States Senate to get this bill done.
And just following up on the dinner tonight, you mentioned this is not a White House dinner, but the president is always the president, and the Trump family is making money off of this. So can you just explain, how is this not the president using the office to enrich himself?
Well, all of the president's assets are in a blind trust, which is managed by his children. And I would argue one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president back to this office is because he was a very successful businessman before giving it up to publicly serve our country. Reagan.
Wow.
Thanks, Caroline. Last week, the president
Trusted
told
everything.
that he trusts his people, but thinks that the official narrative on his assassination attempts are, quote, a little bit odd. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino said days later that there's no conspiracy to find, and as he put it, quote, the there that you're looking for is not there. My question is the president personally satisfied with the investigations into the attempts on his life? And does he agree with Deputy FBI Director, or does he think there's more to it?
Well, in the lead up to your question, you answered your own question with the president's own words, and I'll leave it at that.
Caroline?
Sure, go ahead, Haley.
Thanks, Caroline.
Haley, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. I wanted to follow up on his call with Prime Minister Netanyahu in his effort to deal with Iran. Does he feel like he has the Prime Minister's support in this effort at this point, or did the Prime Minister raise concerns to him in this conversation?
I will get further into the private discussion between the president and the prime minister, but surely they have a good relationship, one that's built on transparency and trust. And the president has made it very clear to not just Prime Minister Netanyahu, but also the world, that he wants to see a deal with Iran struck if one can be struck. He does not want to have to take the latter option, the more severe and negative option. He wants to see a deal. The president is a deal maker, and he believes strongly in diplomacy, and he's made that clear to the prime minister, but also to all of you and frankly the rest of the world. Mary.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions, one on the terror attack last night and then another on the big beautiful bill. Do you or President Trump have a message to politicians like Ilhan Omar, who only this morning explicitly avoided condemning this act of terror?
It's despicable. And frankly, we have seen a rise in anti-Semitic protests, of pro-Hamas protests, of terrorist sympathizers. We saw them on our college campuses, and we've seen the Democrat Party turn a blind eye and in some cases actually embrace such anti-Semitic illegal behavior. And that's why this administration has done more than any administration in history to crack down on anti-Semitism. As you know, in January, when the president took office, he signed a new executive order to combat anti-Semitism. He created a commission focused on doing just that. The Justice Department announced their task force as well. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has revoked thousands of student visas from campuses where these pro-Hamas terrorist campus agitators and violent protests took place. And we've also withheld funding from those very campuses as well in an effort to combat anti-Semitism. So the president's made it very clear that such hatred will have no place in our country.
Thank you. And then on the big beautiful bill, I know there's a provision in the House included that defunds Planned Parenthood, not only because of the fact that it's the nation's largest abortion provider, but also because it's, I think, the biggest distributor of trans.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but I said my piece on the whole situation to start the show. But yeah, that was something that she said about them defunding Planned Parenthood. So I'm backing it up so we can hear it.
To combat anti-Semitism. So the president's made it very clear that such hatred will have no place in our country.
Thank you. And then on the big beautiful bill, I know there's a provision in the House included that defunds Planned Parenthood, not only because of the fact that it's the nation's largest abortion provider, but also because it's, I think, the biggest distributor of transgender hormones right now, even to minors, according to Live Action. So Is the president committed to making sure that provision stays in the Senate?
The president has maintained a very clear commitment to ensuring that this administration and the American people's tax dollars are not funding any institution. That includes hospital systems that are funding the chemical castration and mutilation of children. We're not going to tolerate taxpayer dollars going to such efforts. Sure.
Yeah, flat out. No more puberty blockers for teenagers, because I mean, all you're doing is chemically castrating them. Like that's wild. That's wild. And it's the parents that's forcing it on them. Parents and the school system, you know, through counselors or whatnot. You got freaking psychologists. They're pushing these kids to do that. All these pink-haired, crazy white folks.
Hey, Caroline. You mentioned at the top of the briefing that the migrants were to be sent to a third country. I was just wondering, could you share any more on, which countries the administration has struck these agreements with, and what that agreement with South Sudan specifically looks like?
Well, first of all, I won't litigate foreign policy from the podium, but what I will reiterate is the absurdity of this ruling from a district court judge in Boston, who is just creating new immigration laws out of thin air. This administration, let me be very clear, because there have been a lot of fake headlines about this deportation flight over the last 2 days. This administration has complied with all court orders. And the individuals whose names I just revealed and whose criminal histories I just spoke of that are on this flight, every single one of them had a final order of removal from our country. In fact, one of these violent illegal criminals had a final order of removal given to him in 1999. Jesus. 2 years after I was born. This individual, this criminal, has been living in our country for an entire generation.
That's crazy.
And now we have a district court judge who is trying to tell the president and the Secretary of Homeland Security that illegal criminal murderer who's been hiding in the shadows in our country for nearly 30 years cannot be deported from United States soil. That not only is undermining our entire immigration system, but it is also undermining our diplomatic negotiations with countries around the world. How are countries on this earth supposed to trust the United States government and these good faith diplomatic negotiations when these countries accept these repatriation flights? How are they supposed to trust us if we have radical district court judges who are going to say, no, you can't do that? And now these illegal criminal murderers and rapists have to sit in Djibouti with our ICE agents who now have to sit there for more than 2 weeks without the proper resources. This judge is not only undermining our immigration system, undermining our foreign policy and our national security, but this judge is undermining the safety of the ICE agents who are putting their lives on the line to remove this list
they don't care.
Of illegal criminal terrorists.
I mean,
it's truly despicable what's happening in our court system, and the president and this administration hope that the Supreme Court will do what it needs to do to rein in these liberal activist judges. And the Supreme Court has already said it is well within the president's purview to dictate foreign policy, and a radical district court judge should not be getting in the way of that. We'll see you all later at the
Still doing it because you gotta. They still doing it because you got to smack them down. You got to make a ruling on them. You have to, at the Supreme Court, like I said earlier, the Supreme Court has to make a ruling on these judges, or else they just gonna. I mean, making statements is not enough. You have to legally do something, because they're trying to use lawfare against Trump. Then turn around and accuse him of using lawfare for prosecuting Democrats who literally caught red-handed breaking the law. Like, hold on, like, wait a minute. Like, you're trying to interfere with what I'm doing, so much so that you're over here putting your hands on ICE agents. You're over here trying to, you literally helped a criminal illegal escape the courthouse. We caught him, thank God. But you as a sitting judge, you going to the head judge as a distraction, the head magistrate, you sent us there as a distraction so you could usher this guy out the back door, which we have you all doing on tape. Got another judge trying to do the same thing. We got the judge in Arizona who was, being cucked out by the MS-13 member banging his wife. Like, man, like, woo, like, what are y'all And then you got the nerve to say that he's using lawfare against us. Man, you on drugs. You on drugs. You are on drugs. You know, the thing about it though was that I don't think that a lot of people are, because they probably like, well, you know, what happened? Why did it has to be like, probably like, you know, what happened? Why did they flip and all this stuff? And I'm like, dude, I didn't flip. Like, you know, you just have to see it for what it is. You have to look at the total plan. And you're watching, sitting here for the past 2.5 years, watching America crash out. And I mean, crash out bad. So much so that, I mean, I was listening to Passport Bro videos, but I was listening for information about locations. I didn't care less. I mean, the girl story, you know, yeah, this girl, that girl's cute, but tell me about the location. What's the scene like? What's the atmosphere? You know, that's why I used to like listening to Travel Time with Paul, because he was dropping the info on, you know, like the situation that was going on with brothers overseas, you know, like in Pattaya and whatnot. Like, y'all want to be, you know, in these areas. Like, let me tell y'all, you know, what the scene is with, you know, the expat bros or the passport bros in these areas. Like, these dudes fighting over bar girls and stuff, you know. I mean, what the hell? Like I'm looking for a place to chill, like not to be caught up in drama. The Philippines was it for a while, but I figured if it came really down to it, it would be Japan. But at any rate, you know, I went and renewed my passport and everything and was looking at, y'all remember when I had the Embraceability check? Like, I was looking at rentals and houses and land and areas and whatnot, you know, because this country was going to crap. It was going to crap. Like, how do y'all not see this? But now things look to have a bright future. You say Japan, best place to chill. Yeah, I know they have the whole xenophobia thing out there, but it's like, you know, I grew up in America in the 70s. You know, trust me, I can handle a little xenophobia. Like, you know, as long as you keep your hands to yourself, or, you know, don't say nothing crazy, we good. No, but yeah, Trump came in with a plan. And now that I'm listening to the plan, we're watching the plan. This is why I cover the press conferences, because I want to hear what they're talking about. What are you talking about? Now that you see how everything is starting to work out, you say they don't see it because they still rely on the old system. Well, I mean, you know, they're preservants, yet modern. Their tradition, they're very strict with their tradition. That's what I definitely know about them concerning their traditions. But no, now that you see everything that's falling into place, what he's trying to do, and I've said this a few times, he's trying to eliminate poverty. He's trying to eliminate poverty. And I know a lot of people feel that they will be impoverished, but in all honesty, like the whole Section 8 thing, a lot of the Black women that lost their jobs were government employees. All right, they were government employees, and where they messed up at, and I spoke about this, I was like, once you saw what was going on with Doe, as soon as they, you know, started tinkering around with USAID, cutting jobs and whatnot, and offering people 7 months severance packages, I would have went to my manager and be like, hey, look, I want that. If they ever come here, I want a 7-month buyout package. I would start negotiating possible buyout packages. Like, hey, if you do this, can you please at least give us the same deal you gave the first wave of people that you cut? Like, that should be the standard across the board. So that way you at least got 7 months worth of salary. It's up to you to budget it. It's up to you to budget it. You know, this is This is your pay. You know how to live off of your pay. So here's the lump sum of your pay. You should be able to live off the lump sum of your pay for 7 months. That's what they gave you enough for, right? But it's just like the old prostitute that had the basketball player's baby, and he wanted to pay, what was it, $2 million in child support. He asked the court if he could pay it all at once. Like, of course you can. It's just a matter of if it's legal in that state. But yeah, because the court gonna take their cut. They're gonna take their percentage, and then she'll get what's left, which might wind up being like 1.3. That's why she threw a fit. You got girls on TikTok. Do you hate me? Do you hate me that much? Like, well, you used me to get a baby out of you. I've already signed over my parental rights. And here's what you wanted. You wanted the money. But the thing is that you wanted to live off of the money for 18 years. Like, no. Because if I sign a new contract, you'll be back in the child support office trying to renegotiate to up your salary. So here, no. Pay it now all in one fell swoop. Because I know that money is not going to last you 18 years. That money probably won't even last you 18 months. That's why she was mad. That's why other women were mad for her, because they already knew the play. Better to drain you for 18 years than for one big payoff. There's always renegotiation. Plus, it's like a paycheck every month. I mean, isn't that why a lot of women have children? It's for so they don't have to work. You either live off the state or you live off Travis Hunter. You live off Puffy. Ain't that right, Mr. Sierra? No, what's the name? No, what's the name? No, Mr. Cassie, Mr. Ventura. Isn't that right? You couldn't wait to get that money. Good Lord, look at the tangled. You do understand that all these federal charges came shortly after that. So, and if it's true that he put Cassie up to doing this, like, dude, you played yourself hard, and you blew up Diddy's spot. Like, you were not. If Diddy is as big of a monster as they're making him out to be, you are not long for I would say enjoy your time, bro. Live it up. Live every day as if it's the best day of your life. That's what I would do if I was you. Because all of this is because of you. If it finds out that you did put her up to it. Oh my God. But it's just like with Shannon Sharp. You're always supposed to pay your hoes. I said it. You always supposed to pay your hoes. The biggest reason you get into trouble with these chicks is because you don't cash them out, like literally after every session. Literally after every session. I went over this. I was like, please, like, if you that type of dude, you up there in status, you know why this chick is messing with you. You say stay away from rooftop patios. Yeah. You know that the only reason why this chick is messing with you is because of who you are and the money and the fame, whatever. What you should do is cash app that chick a certain amount, wherever you feel comfortable with. Every time y'all hook up, just cash app her. And then that way, when she try to pull this crap on you and try to, throw y'all little tryst all out in public, trying to blackmail you for money, you be like, just hit her with like she was a sex worker. Like, look at my cash apps. These are every time that we hooked up, I paid her. Since you want to play that game, let's be honest. Basically, you are a prostitute. But instead of me thinking that I can get the box for free, it's best to cover my bases. So if you ain't got the $300 or the whatever, you don't feel like paying her, then maybe it's best you don't mess with her. You say, yep, get her an LLC and pay to that. Whatever. You say Diddy may walk from this or best OBE. Oh, you mean Doe? He's not walking from this. Understand, Cassie, if it was based on Cassie, then yeah, he would probably walk. But it's not based on Cassie. Cassie's just the first witness of many. Man, she talked like she's still in love, boy. She talked like, I mean, I'm surprised she ain't fanning herself, talking all seductively. He told me to crawl on my knees, and I quivered from excitement as I drew near. I mean, she might as well be talking like that on the stand. Oh my God. I mean, Cassie can get mad all she wants that she never got put on, but the truth is the chick just didn't have any talent. And the best talent she had, Puffy used that for 10, 11 years. Let's just be honest. Cassie husband got her pregnant, and black women praise the white man for wife to escort. You know what? Let me get this out the way, since this is the hot topic, since racial makeup is the hot topic. And I swear to God, like, you know, gotta learn to let this shit go. So apparently, hold on, let me see if I saved it. Because apparently the big issue is the foul Caitlin Clark did on Angel Reese. And no, I did not save it. I didn't save it. That's the big talk, right? So not really the big talk, but I'm gonna get into the Robert Griffin, RG3, and what's the name thing. If you look at the play, Angel Reese pushed the other player, you know, that was another Indiana Fever player. She pushed her out the way to get the rebound. And when that happened, Caitlin Clark looked at the ref like, you're not going to call that? So Angel Reese went up to, you know, beat Break Barbie, and Caitlin Clark, really just out of frustration, she blocked the shot. She fouled her. Mainly out of frustration with the ref. You say, well, there was no proof Diddy doing the trafficking or harassment. You know what? Look, here's my thing. If you hire prostitutes, people that are like, yes, I'm a prostitute. You hire professional prostitutes to do a job. It shouldn't, because they cross state lines, that's bullshit. That's their job. They're prostitutes. This is what they do. Like, if that's the case, then you need to shut down all of these major porn companies all over, you know, New York, San Francisco, New York, California, in Florida, Washington. You need to shut them all down, because every day they have somebody with a foreign, not with a non-state ID, in which these places, these scenes are filmed. There's no Bang Brothers in Nebraska, okay, or Iowa, or Idaho, or, you know, or Ohio or whatnot. They're coastal. So you pretty much, it's the same thing. Did he film it too? He filmed it, you know. Why he filmed it, we'll find out. We'll see if anybody's been blackmailed. It's the same thing, except he's producing corn too. He's producing corn too, except he's just not, you know, making money off of it publicly. He's doing the same thing. He's just hiring talent. How come if you're gonna say he's trafficking, then you need to, then I guess what? You supposed to go to the professional prostitute that took money to come across, catch a flight. It ain't like they was in a minivan driving, thinking that I'm going to get my hopes and my dreams fulfilled. No, these people caught flights to do a job and was well paid and went home happy. None of them complained. You might as well arrest them too, unless you're gonna throw a warm blanket around their shoulders and give them a cup of coffee and make them out to be victims. You know, these dudes pay taxes on their work. I guess they're victims too, huh? Like they already doing that in 11 states. South Carolina and Illinois is already banning corn. Yeah, because I mean, if you're gonna get Diddy on this, then you doing the same thing. You might as well do it with the corn sites. No, but if you getting back to the whole Caitlin Clark situation. So she filed Angel Reese, and it was out of frustration for the ref not making the call. So she blooped. And we know Angel Reese, she uncoordinated as hell. So she flopped to the ground. She flopped to the ground hard. And when she saw it was Caitlin Clark, that, let's be honest, she don't like that girl. She think that girl is her rival. Like, Caitlin Clark ain't thinking about you. She ain't thinking about none of this. She letting her game do the talking. She better... That girl is too busy shooting jumper threes from downtown, cross-ups for 2, fadeaways for 2, pull-up jumpers for 2, for 3, going inside, passing it outside to the center or the power forward, and they get the points. You know, so she gets the assist. And she playing defense. She's too busy playing She's too busy playing basketball. You don't hear her saying nothing about nobody. Angel Reese has to use Caitlin Clark in order to prop herself up. We know she don't like her ever since that whole hand thing. Like, yeah, end of the day, Caitlin Clark already won. You know, the whole when because Robert Griffin III, he mentioned everything that we all know about. When the old girl got up and, checked her, called her a bitch, got up and, body checked her to the floor. Angel Reese jumping up, clapping. Yeah. Like, that's poor sportsmanship. That's poor sportsmanship. Say, wow, Angel Reese following Meg DeBlah, persona BS. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Like, please, like nobody comes to your games. Nobody comes to your games. The numbers do not lie. It's because of her that you guys are able to now fly private jets, even though you don't have the money for it. It's because of her that people are even, you know what? I take it back. It's not because of, actually, indirectly, it is because of Caitlin Clark that we know that Angel Reese is a terrible basketball player, because she sits up there and tries to promote herself so hard that we actually watch her play. And it's like, good Lord, you flopping all over the place. It takes you 4 rebounds of your own shot to get it in. Then when you do get the ball, sometimes underneath, you get blocked. You don't even get the ball up past your head before you get blocked. You can't even get up because you have no hops. You keep getting blocked. You said, bruh, second quarter, Angel Reese only scored 2 points, but had 6 rebounds. Yeah. That's a point. A point every 3 rebounds. Good Lord, her shooting percentage is terrible. She can't dribble. She can't get the ball up the field, but You know, she's not a point guard. So why y'all got this uncoordinated, unathletic power forward bringing the ball up court? Passes are terrible. Y'all see that one pass she did? She threw it so hard in the center that it went so high up it hit the bottom of the bottom of the rim and ricocheted out of bounds, almost injuring a fan. Like, girl, what is you doing? What is you doing? But you know, if the rim was at least a foot shorter, then we could actually see her scoring when she does get wide open looks. Because I mean, it's like she just can't, like it's too high to reach. I don't have the power to get the ball up above the rim, so it keeps getting jammed and bouncing off, and because I don't have the muscle, this dexterity to push the ball off the rim. That makes no sense. What she been doing all day instead of training? She been doing podcasts and, you know, taking DMs from other athletes. Shaq told her she need to work on her game, and she scoffed at that. All right. Every highlight reel that's out there of Angel Reese is of her mistakes. Flopping, missing layups, and getting blocked shots. And getting the ball stolen from her because she's trying to come up court with it or whatnot. Like, what is you doing? If I was Chicago Sky, I'd trade her for somebody that's at least better. Just find me somebody that's better than her. Maybe they'll take her because, you know, they think that she'll be good for sales. But I'm trying to win here. Like, I'm not here to babysit this horrible player who runs her mouth, but her production is like the worst in the league. Well, last year she won the rebound title. Yeah, because they were feeding her the ball. Y'all remember that came out after the season ended? They were like, yeah, like the coach, because I think something happened with the coach. The scandal came out that the coach was ordering them to just always give her the ball underneath, so that way she can at least get the rebound record. Because that was supposed to be, that's her thing. She's a power forward, right? She's the rebound. She's supposed to be the Dennis Rodman of the team, right? But if she can't get the layup after the rebound, then what are you looking at here? I'd trade her. I'd trade her while somebody still thought she had value. But old dude, Robert Griffin pointed all of this out. And Ryan Clark had to get his Black Power moment in. And this is the stuff that I was talking about. And I was like, bruh, we got to stop talking about racism all the time because it's starting to make us look stupid. So Ryan Clark, with his white baby mama, before he married his wife, he got a white baby mama, a daughter, the white woman, set up here and besmirch Robert Griffin III's character and his love for white women, because we know RG3 loved white women. We know that. Like, you know, Rob Parker called him a corny brother all those years ago. And I mean, he didn't lie. RG3 is, you know, he's a corny brother, but we're not a monolith. If he liked white women like that, then so what? We got brothers that love Hispanic women like that. We got brothers that love Asian women like that. We got brothers that love African women. I mean, like African women like that. We got dudes that like dudes of all those different varieties like that. I mean, women, you know, they go gaga. Black women love them some white men. That's all they talk about. You know, and of course, our problem is we always say, you know, you can date whoever you want to. Just keep our names out your mouth. So Ryan Clark felt that this was RG3 besmirching Angel Reese because she was black, or because Robert Griffin III loves white women. Because his wife was in the back, and they're trying to say that his wife probably put him up to say it. And whether, I mean, His wife put him up to say it or not. He didn't lie. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark ain't thinking nothing about that chick. He's just playing basketball. She letting her game speak for herself. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is letting her half-naked body and her stupid takes and her horrible play speak for themselves. I mean, you don't get a nickname Brick Barbie because you're good. At any rate, he was right. It's clearly obvious that she don't like Caitlin Clark. Ryan Clark tried to make this a racial thing, trying to say that he attacked RG3's family, saying he's not having conversations about black women with his white wife. And I'm like, bruh, I'm pretty sure if you're living like you're preaching, I'm pretty sure your white baby mama hates custody exchange day, because I mean, you are such a hypocrite. You're such a fucking hypocrite. I'm good enough to have a baby with, but not marry. But you sitting up here trying to get on a dude that at least married the mothers of his children. Whether it worked out or not, at least he married them first. But you sitting up here talking about conversations in my house with black women. Like, dude, you and I don't talk about this stuff. Your daughter is considered black. I know she's half black, but let your people tell it she's black. Let my people tell it she's black. Society sees her as black. They see that brown skin, she's black. They see me, they go, oh. And you out here trying to sound like Dr. Umar, you sound just as silly as him. Talking about a black dude that actually married his wife. He adores his wife. You talking about you trying to make it a racial thing because he likes white women. So I take it you hate fuck me? What is this? You say they already look stupid when out there defending African president, the real critical of black Americans, and they still defending them while being called the codders. Right, Africans do not like us black Americans. They do not see us as them. Go ahead and tell an African that you're an African too with your American ass, and watch he smile and laugh in your face. You can go to Ghana all you want to. You just a check to them, just like you are in any other third world country. You're a check. You're a check. Those people over there though, they'll 86 you, like literally. Like I did the stories in my Patreon. He had 5 women, 5 black women, some of them Americans. They were murdered by their lovers, their male lovers, be they married husbands or boyfriends, because over there you cannot own property unless you split it with a native. So they were marrying and dating these guys and using these guys' names to get their houses built and get their businesses up and running. And then they was tossing the guys to the curb once they got everything up and running successfully. And them guys came back and murdered those chicks. They were all black women over the age of 40. At least 5 of them so far that they did a story on. Yeah, you go to Africa all you want to playing games. You are a check to them. Nothing more. You are not a brother. Kidding me? Yeah, you say, meanwhile, Africans dislike black Americans in the heartbeat. Soon you fled to Ghana and shit like that. And these Ghanaians don't fuck with you like that. Right. That's what I was saying. Like if Trump all of a sudden wanted to offer, all of these Pan-Africanness, if he wanted to offer black people, hey, like I'll give y'all $150,000 to go back to Africa. We'll pay for the flight and we'll give you the check tax-free when you get there. Any country in Ghana, matter of fact, anywhere in the world, I mean, any country in Ghana, any country in Africa, or anywhere in the world, since you hate it here so much. This will be our reparations. Take it or leave it. You can get 150K tax-free, cashier's check, and get your passport together and everything. We'll fly you right up out of here. You can go, one-way ticket. We'll help you with the paperwork of completely expatriating from the United States. So your American passport will be null and void by the time you land. How many black people will take that offer? Since they hate America so much. I mean, because that's what they're doing with the Hispanics. Like, so what if they did that with you? They figured that would be your perfect reparation since you hate it here so much. 150K should last you, if you budgeted right, in a third world country or something like that, or where, $1 is 59 of theirs or 39, something like that. 150K should last you till you die. As long as you live within your means, smart with your money. Because that's like 600. I know it's over $600,000 of their money. 150 of ours would be over 600K of theirs. You can't live till you die on 600K. Anyway, in a third world country. Anyway, you say silly ass Negro want to defend them, talking about you hate your own people. And I'm like, F you and these people. FOH with that red, black, green BS. Then talking about let's go back to Africa. Well, that's what I'm saying. If you offered them the ticket, would they take it? How many of them you think would take it? I mean, that's the true test. I mean, I'm pretty sure Dr. Umar would probably take it up because, I mean, trying to play like you opening the school, bruh, come on. You ain't opening up that school. LeBron James spends $8 million annually. $8 million annually to run a school that's, in all honesty, a failure. You say, I wouldn't step foot in Africa. I wouldn't last. I wouldn't last long than 2 hours. Well, probably because of the heat. See, it's like a brisk 120 in the shade. That's why a lot of Europeans don't live in Africa. It's hot. Ooh, it's hot. I mean, I hate the snow, but I don't. Let me tell you something. Here in Georgia, it rains, right? Like it rains overnight. It rains overnight. I mean, prime example, and this is almost like, depends on how early I get up, but it stormed, like thunder and lightning, waking me up, storming, boom. I mean, the rain was coming down. This was Tuesday. So I get up Wednesday, get my coffee. I step out on the patio, turn on TV, and it's foggy out in the whole neighborhood because the sun is cooking that heavy rain. Whatever was left, it was cooking it. By noon, you didn't even know it had rained. See, you hear about BAW dislikes America and then complain about Ghana, then coming back to America. Yeah, Black American women. Yeah, they say they hate America. They call themselves expatriating to Ghana, and then they wind up coming back. I got a friend out there. She made a clump ton of money. I'm trying not to curse. She made a lot of money, ton of money, selling footwear to women, to business women. All right. It was like a heelless soul. I don't want to get the name out, but she made a ton of money. So she moved to Ghana. She married some African dude, moved to Ghana, but I haven't seen him since. And like no pics, no mention, no nothing. But she out there trying to sell land. Like she got up with some chieftain and he sold her the land. Listen now, sold her the land, and people were saying that, hey, they was talking about the scam that the Ghanaians pull on Americans or foreigners that come over there. Like they'll a chieftain will sell you some land, or you can buy the land legally. And then as soon as you get it like developed or whatnot, especially if it was bought through a chieftain, then suddenly the real owner would show up of the land and, you know, call themselves confiscating the land and your built home and everything that you poured your life savings into. They were confiscated, and through the magistrate court, they would arrest you and everything. Like the scam was, they would arrest you, and then if you wanted to get out of it, then you had to pay a bribe, which was pretty sizable. And this is why you have some of these people coming back, because they wind up getting, you know, a chunk of their savings, you know, stolen from them through bribery. It's like either you go to jail for theft. You know, I mean, these are trumped up charges. This is a foreign country. So either you pay the bribe or you go to jail for theft. Good night, Jibba. That was the scam. So she had to clear it up. Like, yeah, that scam's not going on with me. Like, well, we'll see. I haven't heard her talk about that land in over a year and a half. Like after she did that post, like she did 2 more posts trying to sell plots over there in Ghana, then she just stopped talking about it. Like I would last long 4 years in the snow because I live in the Midwest. God, I hate the Midwest. But heat and the smell, I'm like, nah, I'm all right. That's BS. Like, bro, please, they could pay me $50K to live 180 through 6,000 degrees live in Africa. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. That's why I said anywhere. Like, yeah, like I said, I picked Japan. As I did further research, I realized that cleanliness and architecture and access to medical care, plus a nice, clean, rich culture, I needed that. So Japan was what I finally picked if, you know, I was to do it. But like I said, I like where we're heading now as a country. All right, so I guess that's all the black news, right? Covered all the black news. Oh yeah, I never did finish with the whole Ryan Clark thing. Yeah, it was very hypocritical of him to do that. And in all honesty, based on the way he talked about RG3, he don't like RG3. He don't like RG3 like Angel Reese doesn't like Caitlin Clark. You say you're thinking about China, LOL. Yeah, I know you're joking because I mean that's China, bruh. That's communism. You don't want to be messing around out there. I mean, they have some beautiful architecture and whatnot, but nah, you don't want to be messing around in China. All right, y'all. I'll catch y'all later. Let's get out of here. 2, 3.
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. 1, 2, 3!
All right, bye. Thanks for the fun.